So I'd like to give you an update on how my meetup went with Simon Alexander Ong. If you haven't heard of him, he's a coach, public speaker and author who I came across some weeks ago, and I did make a video about this, which I'll link down below. But I went for lunch with him, and this is someone that I admire, someone that has been a coach for almost a decade, very successful and really lovely guy. So I want to share some of the tips that he gave me so that you can use and implement them in your own life. Let's get into it. Okay, so in the first video that I made about Simon Alexander Ong, I discussed the fact that he wrote a book called Energize. I actually have a physical copy of it now, which is great, and he got it signed for me, which is brilliant. And I got lots of takeaways from the book, but oh my goodness, there's nothing like meeting the person in real life and being able to ask them questions and discuss lots of things and get tips from them. And Simon was fantastic. He was very generous with his time and absolutely held nothing back. So some of the things that I learned from Simon were initially this concept about curiosity. So he deals with a lot of coaching clients that are multi-passionate, which means that they have lots of potential interests that they would like to explore and they don't know where to start. So the advice that he gives people when they're in this situation where they have lots of potential things they'd like to try is to get into a mindset of curiosity. So if you're thinking, potentially I could try X, Y, or Z, which one of those things is making you the most curious right now? Which one of those things is the one thing that you would potentially want to spend a Saturday afternoon reading up about and researching? Which one of those things makes you feel like your heart lights up a little bit, like you feel that curiosity to learn more? That's the thing that maybe you want to be exploring to begin with. Simon discusses the fact that we never get given the full map, but we get given kind of a starting point. And our job is to start being curious and exploring things from what we can see, so that then we can get an idea and get the rest of the map revealed gradually. But it only happens as we start taking some action and start taking those steps. So curiosity and letting yourself be curious about new and interesting things and explore those with an open mind, without expectation, that could be one great way to start exploring what it is that you are potentially wanting to do as your next step. The next thing I learned from Simon is that there is so much power in mentorship. So he talks about how we can be mentored from so many different sources, and we just underestimate the fact that there's so much mentorship available to us. It can begin with something as simple as reading a book from someone that you admire. It can be watching YouTube videos. It can be reading blog posts, magazines, joining masterminds, joining group coaching, joining mentorships, getting your own one-to-one mentor. There's so many different ways and different levels where you can get mentorship so that you can progress and develop into the person that you want to be. If you think about a book, this is often someone's 10, 20, 30 years worth of experience, knowledge, expertise condensed into a book. It's such a low cost and high value way of getting mentorship from the people that you admire and the people that know about the thing that you want to do. So reading books, I always advocate for that. Fantastic way to get mentorship, and then you can start scaling up as time, resources, money, etc. allows. One tip that he gave is that the best mentor that you can find is actually the very best version of who you are. And what he means by this is that if you are able to construct the ideal version of who you are in your mind and connect with that empowering person, your kind of best version of yourself, and ask that person the questions when you're not feeling sure, that can be a really powerful guidance, because no one knows you better than you know yourself. So being in touch with the very best version of who you are, who you want to be, that person will have the answers to some of the questions that you have now. And therefore it's really important to connect and to build who it is that you want to see yourself as in terms of the very best version of yourself. Another point that Simon talks about is accountability. He talks about the fact that we are often not the best person to be accountable to ourselves, and it's very easy for us to get into self-doubt, procrastination, overthinking, etc. And so having someone else that helps you to keep accountable is crucial. And again, the sort of ideal situation with that is someone like a coach or a mentor that keeps you accountable one-on-one on a regular basis and you are paying for their service. And the reason that works so well is because you've got skin in the game, you've committed and you've invested in yourself. But if that's not accessible to you, then that's absolutely no reason not to get access to accountability in other forms. So you can do it through a group program, you can do it through a mastermind, you can join a members club, for example, in the industry that you're working towards. And if none of that's available to you, you can get a friend. Speak to a friend that you know is motivated and wants to make some changes, and get them to be your accountability partner. So you can both help and push each other and make commitments to each other that will help you to have that external accountability to make sure that you follow through with the things that you say you're going to do. The final thing that I'd like to share that I learned from Simon is the fact that we have to be very intentional about our environment. So we are shaped by the people and the environment that we spend the most time in. And so if you're spending most of your time with, let's say, another 4 to 5 people who are not achieving goals on a daily basis, they're not where you want to be, in fact, they're potentially behind where you want to be, it's going to make it really hard for you to work on your goals and to have the motivation and the belief that you can achieve them, because what you're going to see as a norm is people not achieving those things. And so what you want to do instead is to surround yourself with people who on a day-to-day basis are achieving and doing the things that you are aspiring to do. So you want to be the new student, you want to be a beginner in a much bigger pond, so a small fish in a bigger pond where you have lots of people to learn from, and where the new normal is all of these things that people are doing and achieving. And then it becomes more achievable for you because you will be able to see that it is doable. You'll be able to switch your beliefs from thinking you won't be able to achieve it to thinking all of these people are doing it, so why not me? And it's going to change your interactions and the way that you learn from other people. So I challenged him on this and I asked him, well, what if you don't have any connections? What if you come from a family that has no connections at all, you don't know anyone, or you're new to a city? Well, the answer to that is that, yes, it takes some time to build a new network, but with a little bit of consistency and effort, it can 100% be achieved. And the way to do that is to start going to networking events. You start meeting new people, maybe you join a members club, maybe you join a community, and you start surrounding yourself with the kind of people that are doing the things that you want to do. And by doing this, you start immersing yourself in those communities and in those networks, meeting new people who will then know other people, and over time, your network will change as much as you want it to change. So he explained to me that he still keeps in touch with some of the people from his old corporate life, but he has a completely different network than what he did 5-10 years ago. And that was intentional. That was him making the effort of going and meeting new people. And I think he's absolutely right. I have been doing the same for my coaching business in the last couple of years. And I've met some really interesting, wonderful people who have given me hints and tips, who have pointed me to events, who have introduced me to clients. I mean, even let's use him as an example. I reached out to him and he was kind enough to have lunch with me and share from his very sort of experienced point of view. That was me changing my network. He gave me some tips. I then attended a workshop that he organized and I met some really wonderful people there, and I met a couple of friends, and that's how it happens. It doesn't happen by accident. You have to construct it yourself, but it is very possible. So if you have a limiting belief around not having the right network, it's time to challenge that limiting belief and to start building that network so that you can then be in a position where you're surrounded by the people who are achieving the things that you want to achieve. Okay, so that brings things to a close. I did learn a lot more from Simon, and it's just too long for one video, but I would suggest that you find your own mentors, find people that you admire, find people that you feel inspired by, reach out to them, get them to mentor you, get them to point you to good resources, join masterminds, join members clubs, go to networking events, start finding ways to expand yourself and expand your vision so that you will see that whatever it is that you're working on, other people have achieved and you'll be able to achieve it as well. So hopefully you found this helpful, and I really look forward to hearing how you got on. So please let me know, write in the comments, write to me. I always like hearing from you. Take care, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.